Good fortune can quickly turn bad, swift as thunderclouds can sweep a summer sky. No one knows this better than Robert Davidson.
My back was sweating. I was far from cute to any female, so I really didn't want to be around any females, but really I was dripping. I was dripping sweat, sweating profusely. My butt was wet. Every time I sat down, you know, you could see it through my pants. So I now know what it feels like to be one of those Mexicans mowing grass. And I was so hot that I couldn't keep it to myself. And that's when I pulled out my phone, and I remember tweeting. I was trying to tweet how hot I was because I didn't feel like I was gonna make it. And I was trying to get a signal. And that's all I can really remember, but I could not get no signal to tell everybody to tweet how hot I was. And it was so important that I told the world how hot I really was at that moment.
It was a direct hit. More than 200,000 volts of electricity. Robert Davidson should have died right then and there. Yet Davidson is still very much with us today. Some say his survival was just another shift in the winds of fortune. Nothing more than a stroke of luck. But others, including Davidson himself, called it a miracle. Personally delivered by a messenger of God.
You all right, bro?
Heading towards getting the old nickel bag or whatnot. And I see old boy that's laying down there wasn't moving at all.
Bro, you all right, man? Bro. Hey, man, somebody call the ambulance, man. I think this motherfucker here done passed out or something, man. He f***ed up.
Called the ambulance. Took him about 12, 14 years just to get there.
I was the volunteer EMT on duty that day.
Emergency crews were on the scene. From the start, it appeared their efforts would be in vain.
Hey, what you got in that bag? A first aid kit?
All I got are these whatchamacallits.
Whatchamacallit?
They're making a comeback, you know.
Yeah, this guy was jacked up. His face was flushed. I couldn't get a pulse. There was no breathing.
I'm gonna need backup.
You not getting a pulse?
Nothing.
So I decided to call for backup.
Dispatch, I have a 6 foot, 185-pound male here.
And it's funny because I get back up to Spring Glen, Springwood, Killarn,
What's the victim's
State
race?
University, Durkeeville, Kennight,
African American.
and all these other neighborhoods, but they just wouldn't come to this neighborhood.
African American?
Staying alive.
All of us had given up.
Staying alive.
I thought he was gone. Till this woman cried out, "Let me touch him, let me touch him."
Let me touch him.
Nobody knew her name or where she came from.
Ma'am, he's as good as dead. Trust me, I'm a volunteer.
Later they would refer to her reverently as the Lady in Black.
She moved the ER guy out the way. Like basically asked everybody for help her out on prayer or whatnot, but I wasn't with her at the time. It was too hot, man.
Next thing I knew, she leaned over him and asked us all for prayer.
Will you guys join me in the word of prayer?
I'm at work.
I'm about to pray no more. I was on my way to get me a nickel bag.
Then she started saying scriptures of her
Lord is my
own.
shepherd. I shall
I'm looking at this lady like, this is not gonna happen. I was really perplexed. I was wondering, what are you doing? This is not gonna work. This is a waste of time.
I guess the prayer wasn't working at the time, so she started speaking in tongues, and one thing led to another.
God, have your
Then she looked in the sky and started singing the lyrics to the Lion King theme song. And I'm just thinking in my head, who does that?
She started singing. I see the dude start twisting his eyes a little bit, like trying to open them.
I think he's showing vital signs.
Because Jesus thing does work.
When she got up, everyone could see that the man was showing signs of life.
Her departure triggered another chain of uncanny events. First,
I think he's alive.
Then out of nowhere, she started asking for donations.
Would you all like to spare some change?
Now I'm only got $5. Go towards the second. I'm trying to get high.
Jesus, what about you?
And I didn't really have 5 kids at
What
home.
about you, sir?
Ma'am, I have 5 kids to feed.
Okay.
I only had $2 on me and I wanted to get a Frosty.
God bless y'all, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you for your time.
Davison had a heartbeat, but his life was still hanging by a thread. The ER physician was not optimistic.
Pretty banged up. Yeah, I remember him. Well, standard procedure. He comes in, check his HOMO. So we saw it only covered minor car detailing before we checked his fluids. No homo. Saw his windpipe was mashed up pretty bad, so we ripped off the back of the muffler. Replaced that pretty well. He had uncontrollable diarrhea. We had to replace his tailpipe. Once again, no homo. We patched him up and he was on his way.
For nearly 2 months, Robert Davison was more dead than alive. Then one day he simply woke up and resumed his life.
But what I can't remember is when I woke up. I woke up in a mechanic shop. But from what they told me, I woke up. I mean, no. They told me a lady in black came. They said she came and she basically prayed over me. All I know is I'm thankful, and I'm actually thinking about going to church this Sunday. And I'm about to go buy a Bible to keep in my dashboard.
Davidson's astounding recovery has prompted speculation that the woman in black was far more than a simple passerby. Some believe it to be a divine spirit that rose up from Indiana's fervid religious past. Just down the road from where Davison was struck by lightning lies this quiet meadow. It is a site of a 19th century spiritual retreat known as Acton Campground. More than 100 years ago, this spot rang out with fiery sermons, gospel hymns, and the strange music of the faithful speaking in tongues. Most of Acton Campground burned down in 1905, but a few artifacts can still be found at a local museum. There among the relics of a long-vanished era is a vintage dress, unmistakably reminiscent of the Lady in Black.
I just want to thank her. I mean, really, I couldn't thank her. There's not enough words to thank her for what she's the reason I'm here today.
She probably was a magician or something, like, you know, traveling the world like David Blaine or the White Kung Fu Master or something. Who knows?
This lady must have been some type of witch, magi, fairy, godmother, or some kind of mythical creature with magic spells and potions.